but don't buy these overpriced, terrible properties in the Philippines. There's just absolutely no reason to do it. It's like financial suicide. Okay, I just want to go through some of the problems that we had here in the Philippines looking to buy properties so that you're not going to make these similar kind of mistakes yourself. There is a lot of construction going on here in the Philippines, and it's not always the best quality. You can see here, mistake number one is that property in the Philippines is not actually as cheap as you think it is. Okay, in fact, it's not cheap at all. And you're going to see exactly what I mean by that. Now you can see the quality, you've got some leaks up there. Also in the kitchen, you can see that the wiring has been pulled out. And as we go through now into the bathroom, you can see some most disgusting plumbing. So all of that realistically needs to be ripped out, whether you're going to live there yourself or if you're going to rent it out to somebody else, which was really our idea. You can see this here. We've got a little washing machine down there. As we go up this is the office space in the front room here. It's all quite a mess. And I'm going to tell you exactly how much they want for this property in just a moment. But first, let's continue the tour around. So you can see we're going up these concrete stairs here. And we first turn into now, this is like a small box room. So there's not really enough room in here for anything other than a bed, maybe a bunk bed if you've got two kids. But realistically, it is just a box room. It was a very, very small room. The camera is like a GoPro, you know, it's got a very wide angle lens, so it does make it look a little bit bigger than it is. This here is like a normal sized room, but take a look at those ceilings and the poor quality ceilings. All of those ceilings need redoing. I think the electrics, just like downstairs in the kitchen, probably also need redoing. You've got a weird thing going on there with the doors. Well, it's got like two doors into the bathroom. I think you just really want to block one of those off and just have the one door. But again, the plumbing is terrible. All of that, the sink, the toilet, the shower, all needs ripping out and just starting again, whether you're going to live there yourself or if you're going to rent this out to somebody, because otherwise you're just going to have a ton of maintenance problems. Even if you are renting out to a Filipino, you're still going to have a ton of maintenance issues ongoing all the time unless you actually put it right to start with. Now you can see in here, again, the ceilings, they're terrible everywhere. But as we go outside this door, this sliding door, which doesn't actually open, so I'm just sticking my arm out there with the camera, but you can see that big crack right there. And that is a major problem. That is basically where that little carport is just pulling away from the house itself. So a bit of a structural issue there as well that needs fixing, other than all windows and doors throughout. So all of these metal windows are all completely rusted. They all need coming out. And also with all of the doors as well are a complete mess as well. So you're probably looking somewhere around the sort of £15,000 mark, maybe £20,000. But the good news, of course, is the price. So these are real substandard buildings, which you wouldn't get a mortgage on back in the UK. But here in the Philippines, it's all perfectly legal and it's fine. And you can see right here, so this is back in 2015 when we first came to Iloilo, that it's going for 1.65 million. So that's roundabout, or let's not do roundabout, that is exactly £29,000. So under £30,000, not too bad. You know, you've still got enough money there, like I say, 15, 20 grand to actually do something proper with the place, because you couldn't live in it like it is, obviously. It needs a lot of refurb. And as I said, problem number one is that things are not cheap in the Philippines. So that was the price back in 2015. Today, they want 5 million pesos for that complete train wreck of a house, which you're going to probably have to put another 2 million in just to put it right. So that's really going to cost you 7 million. And again, if we come back here, you can see that that is $122,000, or probably around the £100,000 mark in the UK. But maybe for £100,000 or $120,000, you can't really get that much, you know, whether you're in the UK, Europe, or America. So let's just take a look. Now, here we can see this is in Swansea. So this is my local area back in the UK. £65,000, a long way short of 100. And this property is looking much nicer. We have a very nice living room, dining area, nice kitchen, well fitted, nothing at all like the horror show you just saw there in the Philippines. Nice bedroom, again, nice kitchen. You can see this is a very nice property for, proper shower and everything for £65,000. Now, if you want to go all the way up to £100,000, then you can get something like this. So this one here, this is in Hendy. I know this property very well. I recognize it straight away as soon as I saw it. And this will rent very, very well. You'll be able to rent this for about sort of £900 to £1,000 per month very easily. You've got a very nice large living room here, and kitchen definitely needs updating. So you could spend some money there for sure. I don't know, that's like an outside area, a couple of bedrooms, obviously very cluttered, but I'm sure the people are going to move all of that out before they move, but some proper big bedrooms and a humongous garden, which is something very important to British people. They like a garden about 2 to 3 times the size of the house. And this is a huge garden. You see there's a football pitch in there, goalposts in there. Very big garden, which I absolutely love. There you go. If you got £100,000, you could buy that train wreck of a house in the Philippines, or that much more decent house there in the UK. But what if you want to rent? So this is the other issue, is rental income. So we already know the properties are not cheap. You're not going to get much for your money in the Philippines, but is the rental income good for buy-to-lets? Okay, so right here we got some typical house prices here in the UK, and the gross rental yield, or the price to rent ratio that you would get in the UK. So is the property value for money? Is it a good investment? Now, of course, all the salespeople are going to tell you when you're going to buy one of these homes in the Philippines, or maybe a condo, that it's really great investment, it's good value for money, that prices are only going to go up, all this sort of stuff. But obviously, don't ever believe a salesman, because they're just trying to get you to buy the property, right? So is it actually a good deal? So you can see here, this is the house we were just looking at there in the UK. So in Filipino money, £100,000 would have been about 7.4 million pesos. And that's going to have a rental income of about 70,000 pesos per month. And that's going to give you a gross rental yield of 11.1%. Now, most rental yields in the UK are going to be above 10%. If it's below 10, generally buy-to-let investors are not interested. If you want to do like a HMO or an Airbnb, you're going to be looking more sort of probably above 20%. But just for a standard buy-to-let, definitely you want at least above 10. And the price to rent ratio needs to be below 10. So those are all good investments. So we've got here a bungalow in Swansea. We got a 4-bed in Trabanos. All of them about the same. I ain't got time to show you all of these right now. If we have a look here, we've got the house which we just saw there. I've called the trash house in Park Regency, with a 5 million peso price tag and a absolutely awful gross rental yield of 3.7%. And that's bearing in mind that we're going to be putting just 1.5 million in, although it could be 2 million to actually do the place up. And 27 price to rent ratio is absolutely awful. It is the worst deal you could possibly do. You can go to Portugal, you can go to Italy, you can go to Spain. Now, I know as a foreigner here in the Philippines, you can't actually buy land and buy property. But here in the Philippines, you could be a Filipino, get yourself a plane ticket, go to Portugal, go to Italy, go to Spain, go to the UK, go to the US, Canada, and buy rental property out there. And you're going to get some really good, decent returns. But here in the Philippines, it is absolutely shocking. So this is one of the Mega World condos. Now, Mega World, that's where everybody wants to be, particularly expats and foreigners. And that's basically who is buying all of these condo units. And they're going to spend, more or less £100,000 on a 1-bedroom condo unit. And again, if you're going to rent it, you're only going to get about 25,000 to rent. If you Airbnb, you'll get 35,000. But then you also have to pay the electric bill and the internet, and pay for servicing, for cleaners and everything between tenants that stay. So it's going to come down to about 25 anyway. So you might as well just go for long-term lets with that. But again, really bad rental yield. And then we've got this little Monticello villa, which was offered to us for 3.1 million. So it seems quite cheap, but it had the rental yield of only sort of 12,000 per month because of where it was. It's like right out of town in the middle of nowhere, no schools, no hospitals, no jobs, just nothing, just completely a massive housing estate full of houses in the middle of nowhere. If you were going to walk from where the house was just to get out of this gated community, it'll probably be a 25-minute walk just to get out of the place, where you might find a shop to buy some rice or something. I mean, there's no way you'd want to live there. So let's recap here. Is the Philippines cheap? Absolutely not. It is extremely expensive for property, absolutely megabucks expensive. It is, however, cheap to rent. So if you come into the Philippines, if you're an expat or something like that, then do absolutely just rent. Do not be afraid of renting, because you're getting a far better deal. And the good thing is with renting is you're not tied into that property or location. You can rent just for a couple of years and then change your mind and then go somewhere else and rent there instead. You know, you could go to Cagayan de Oro, go to Davao, Iloilo, go to Manila for a while. You can go wherever you want and just rent. And the rent is generally around 25,000 per month across the country for a decent accommodation. So point number one was believing it's cheap. Point number two, the big mistake, is believing that it is a good investment. Believing that condo salesman that tells you it's going to be a really good investment, prices are all going to go up, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know if you've heard yet, but in Metro Manila, they've got about 75,000 unsold condo units currently ready to move into that just haven't sold, right? And they just keep building and building and building. And there just seems to be a huge oversupply, not just of condos, but also the houses as well. So as we go around these areas where this absolutely tragic property was, there was like 5 properties next door, which were also completely empty and just been abandoned. And the other place where I showed you, that Monticello house, which was actually quite a nice house inside, owned by a Canadian and his Filipino wife. They did a really good job on the inside, but when you go outside, you just find that the whole place is just completely deserted. And that one, because of the location, as I said earlier, it's just in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, I think these overseas Filipino workers think they're going to be buying this nice brand new house for their family, but in fact, it's just, you know, a bit of a disaster house in the middle of nowhere, and the family maybe move in for a week or so and think, well, I don't want to live here, and then they just go, pack their bags and go, and the whole estate is just empty, abandoned. And even the posh ones, like in Savannah, so Comella Homes in Savannah, they kind of done a posher end sort of house, but not really. They're still not really up to standard for the UK or America. Those properties also have been abandoned, and you drive around the Savannah estate and you see loads and loads of empty properties there as well. So with all that in mind, as you always hear that prices are always going to go up, it's going to be a good investment, you have to ask, with the price to rent ratio being so out of whack, and there being so much oversupply of properties that there's just empty properties on every estate everywhere you look, is the market really going to go up? Or is it due a big correction here in the Philippines? For me, I think. So thirdly, the point would be, what else are you going to do with your money? Let's just say you've come from the UK or the US, somewhere in Europe, and you're here in the Philippines, and you just want to put your money into something, whether that be as a rental, even if it's going to earn a terrible return, or as you know, a house to stay for yourself. Is it better just to buy so you've got something? And of course, number one, you can't actually own the property here in the Philippines because you're a foreigner, so it would really be your spouse which is buying it, so there's no point in doing it for that reason. And secondly, to be quite honest with you, you'd be better off buying US government bonds, which is very easy to do on any trading platform. So if you put the same amount of money, so this is the 175,000 US dollars into US bonds, and I got this number from the condo unit that was on there earlier. So would you be better off buying that condo unit with $174,000 or buying bonds? Well, here the bonds are going to get you about $726 per month, which gives you enough money to pay your rent in the condo instead of buying it, and still have about 10,000 pesos left over every single month for buying food and drinks and whatever else you want. And if you decide you're bored of living in that condo for whatever reason, or you end up with some bad neighbors, you can just move out and just rent another condo because you've got that money coming in from your bonds. Or if you don't want to buy bonds, you do want to buy property, as I say, go to Portugal, go to Italy, go to the UK, go to the US, go there and just buy some rental property. And like in the UK, you could get that property and make £1,000 per month, as opposed to just making £300 per month. You're making 3 times as much investing that same £100,000 in the UK. So do that and then live in the Philippines. But don't buy these overpriced, terrible properties in the Philippines. There's just absolutely no reason to do it. It's like financial suicide. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. That was my thoughts on the Philippines property market. Please do let me know in the comments down below what you think about this and what you're going to do about it in the future. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this. That's it for now. See you in the next video.